Hello, everyone, and welcome to the judging call for the world's first AI film trailer competition sponsored by Submachine. We are so excited to take a look at some of the best submissions from this competition. It was pretty wild. We actually had 394 film trailers submitted for this competition, and when you added them all up together, it ended up being, I think, over 14 hours worth of trailers to check out. We will not be watching 14 hours worth of trailers today. No, we curated the very best trailers, and today our judges will take a look at the trailers and determine which one is going home with an Apple Vision Pro. So, without further ado, I would love to introduce our esteemed judges for this competition.
Hey, I'm Matt Wolf. I have a YouTube channel focused on AI news and the latest trends in the AI world. I also run a site called Future Tools where I curate all of the latest and coolest AI tools. And I host a podcast on the HubSpot network called the Next Wave Podcast, which interviews interesting, smart people building in the AI world.
Hi, everyone. I'm Monica Brady, co-founder and executive producer of the Golden Trailer Awards, which in its 24th year is considered the Oscars of motion picture trailers.
Yeah, how many film trailers have you seen in your lifetime?
About 40,000 trailers, because yeah, I know it's a lot, but you gotta love what you do. So probably the most of any person on earth I have seen trailers. So
very appropriate to have you here.
Well, we are super excited to have you as a judge then. That's fantastic.
Oh, it was my pleasure. It was so much fun. And I became aware of your course because, you know, AI is going to be a great tool for the future. And I took your course. And then when I saw you were having a trailer competition, I volunteered my time because I was like, wait, this is something I can help out with.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for lending your time.
Hi, I'm Jesse Johnson. I'm the head of innovation at BMP Creative, and I'm the co-founder of Submachine. So I really love to work in the gaps in between like pro tools and AI, and I love to try and find the ways we can bring AI tools to professionals and professional workflows.
Well, hi, everyone. I'm Shelby, the co-founder of Curious Refuge, the world's first online home for AI storytellers. So we're so excited to judge these trailers and choose a winner. Thanks for being here.
Hey, everyone. This is Christina Lee Storm. I am founder and CEO of Asher XR, as well as co-founder of Playbook PLBK. I'm also the governor of the Television Academy's Emerging Media Programming peer group. So we love just taking a look at what's coming up, and we always work at the edges of new things. I also work at the cross section of emerging technologies and storytelling.
Awesome. And I'm Caleb, the co-founder of Curious Refuge. You can basically assume that I'm like a light version of Matt Wolf, but like in the film industry. That might be like a quick way to describe what I get up to. But super excited to take a look at some of these films with you all today. Okay, cool. So the way that this is going to work, we'll take a look at the trailer submissions. We will talk about them as a group, and then we will begin the judging process. So let's take a look at our first trailer. These are in no particular order. They're just alphabetical based on the submissions. Okay, this first submission is from Adam Castlebrandt. Let's take a look.
In the heart of darkness, a chilling secret awaits. After 20 years, what everyone had feared was now here. This cannot be true. A web of dark government conspiracies.
Time is running out. Chernobyl is on the brink.
A countdown to a second Chernobyl disaster.
I may have a solution, but I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah.
Amazing visuals. I don't. How did he render those? He or she? I didn't know. Yeah.
It's
How did they render
really
those?
cool.
Yeah.
Great
It's amazing.
visuals.
Yeah, it's really incredible. Definitely feels like maybe it's a follow up to the first HBO Chernobyl show.
Exactly. So smart to use that reference of something that's in all our zeitgeist from the last, 15 years is one of the greatest TV shows. And so we want to see the continuation of that story, even if it's completely fabricated, because we don't want another Chernobyl. But it's and then the use of voiceover to sell the story and to make us want to engage further with it. I think they did an excellent job of that, but the graphics just blow me away. I don't know. Really so impressed. So
It's a cool implementation for like the like macro kind of abstract stuff too. Like in Oppenheimer, they had to go to these like huge lengths to do that stuff practically. And it seems like AI is really well suited, especially for like almost abstract and like conceptual shots like that too.
Yeah, when you think about like the production design work that would need to be sort of put if you were to do it like physical production. Interestingly, I was like wanting a little bit more on the story because there was a little bit of a setup, but then I wasn't quite sure. So it kind of felt like a little bit of like a bumper, but it was hands down gorgeous. I love the rain, that just the tone and the feel of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I loved the sound design. I think they did a really good job with that. One of the things that I really like about the trailers that I picked as some of my favorite trailers are the ones that sort of leaned into the AI technology the best, right? Sometimes when you're using AI and you do like the voice to mouth lip sync, it looks a little awkward. So a lot of the ones that didn't do that kind of stuff and sort of leaned on what AI does well is what I thought did really well. And this one, I like that they didn't try to do a whole bunch of like dialogue with the person talking on camera. They sort of more showed clips from the video. So yeah, that's what I really liked about that one.
I agree. Yeah, that's great. Great use of the technology and keeping it within the boundaries of its current limits, which will change in the next 24 hours, next 48 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really curious before we move forward, for each one of you, what are you looking for in a film trailer? Like, what is a good film trailer in your opinion?
I'll share that. Like for me, if I'm watching a trailer, it hits all the notes. If I actually, and I say to myself, I want to see that. I want to see that. Then it's done its job for me. Just on a traditional sense. I'm a heavy leaner on the story aspect. So for me, I myself, when I was viewing these, it was really about what's the story? Is it clear for me? And am I going to be interested enough to watch the actual film?
Same thing. It drives me to want to watch the actual product, because that's what a trailer or a teaser does. It's an ad to sell you on the movie, and it's like act 1, act 2 better not have act 3 in it, otherwise I don't need to go see it. So any one of them that kept me wanting or made my hand write down the title was the selling points for me. And then also, I thought it was great that you guys, made us, because of what you do, the class is the cinematography. I mean, all that stuff came into play: story, cinematography, sound design. I think in this particular competition, all that was weighted amongst the entries. So
yeah, I totally agree. I think after watching the trailer, if I'm sitting there going, I want to see more. I wish this trailer was longer. I want to see the whole movie now. I think that's a big factor. For me, being like super focused on AI and just watching so many AI videos on a day-to-day basis, I'm kind of looking for the ones that sort of use the technology the best. The ones that, the videos, they somehow molded the AI to actually look like something that I'd want to watch versus an AI video that looks like a meme that I've seen on Twitter. And I'm like, that looks kind of funky, right? I'm looking at the AI elements and going, did they actually use that? And then the story is huge for me, because the ability to create visuals has kind of become a little bit democratized with this technology. So a lot of the really cool visuals, it's gotten to a point where if you've got that idea in your head, almost anybody can create the visuals, but it still takes that human touch. It still takes a really creative person to come up with that good story and that the good sound design. I really, really appreciate the good sound design, because with AI video, a lot of people could, again, generate the visuals, but then if they don't have that good link between what we're hearing and what we're seeing, then it throws it off to me. So I'm just kind of looking at that sort of cohesiveness of it. How well did they pull it all together? Does it look like a video that I want to watch? And how well did they actually use the technology?
I think my criteria for whether or not a trailer excites me is it something I haven't seen before? So I think that's really interesting at this moment with AI, because I think there's this huge potential for it to create things in entirely new ways that we haven't seen. And then there's also this limitation of it being reactive to what already exists as well. So I think it's a really interesting time in AI to see who's able to kind of break through those limitations and create something genuinely new.
To second what everyone has said, story, emotional resonance, using the tech well. I love what Matt was saying earlier, just like, it's limited, right? It reminds me of like Toy Story and it being created. It was limited by the tech, but the story was kind of a story was built around that. And so I think, did people do that well? But I definitely, for me, there were a few that were really emotionally resonant, and I'll share that as we're watching.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think because I live in these AI tools day in and day out, what I'm really looking for from one of these trailers, in addition to just an amazing story that gets you interested in wanting to go to the theater, is, are there any shots that pull you out? I think it's really important for me that the film trailers that we're watching feel like a real film. And I think some of my favorite trailers out of the batch are the ones that really do kind of blur that line between, is this live action? Is this an AI trailer? I'm not entirely sure. And then they showcase really good curation throughout every single shot, so that there's not, 10 great shots and then that last shot and you're like, oh, I don't know, that doesn't look so good, so that cohesion is definitely what I'm looking for as well.
I just wanted to add one thing that I really, really appreciated about some of the videos is when they actually paid attention to smaller details, like the actual color grading, right? You can tell a lot of times they'll use different video tools and bring it all together, but then the colors are all over the place, right? But if some of the videos, they actually color graded the whole thing, so it looks like a very cohesive shot by shot film. And those little nuances were things that I was really paying attention to as well.
I was probably a little more forgiving on that because I was like, they're under time constraints. I was like, how, it's not their full-time job. Whatever, a little more forgiving, I think. But with this particular trailer, with the Chernobyl, Echoes of Chernobyl one, I know like with Silo, Apple's TV Silo, they built 70 sets in order to shoot that. And I was like, when I, saw that behind the scenes, I was like, why didn't they use AI on some of that background stuff? Because 70 sets could prohibit you from telling a great, story if all your money's going into sets. And when I saw the Chernobyl one, I was like, wow, that's a great example of the background can be, it's going to be eventually AI. And then just the story could take that much more of the budget or the actors or whatever. So anyhow.
Awesome, guys. Well, let's move forward. Our next trailer comes from Caperton Miller.
This is Control Base. Go ahead, Outpost 2000.
This is Outpost 2000. I know I'm the only one posted here, but there's someone else on board.
Come again, Outpost 2000.
I feel weird. He's coming towards me. He's opening the airlock.
Outpost, hello? Outpost 2000. Outpost 2000. Come in.
This is Outpost 2000. Sorry about that. Everything's fine here.
Oh. It's so good.
Yeah, I love that sound effect whenever it's just like warping through all the different visuals. It almost sounds like a cartoon sound effect, but it's great.
Yeah.
And the direction of that voice when it's Outpost 2000 at the end is so like so good, so thoughtful, and
Yeah.
well
When
directed.
rewatching it with all of us here, I was like, dang, there's so much on the visual effects side that was done, and then the rack back, and just all the reflections off of the helmet. I was just like, yeah, there's a lot going on here, which was pretty beautifully stylized, beautifully crafted visuals.
Yeah, everything felt really minimal, which is nice to see, and like very plausible visually. I think if someone hadn't told me that those shots were AI, I wouldn't have necessarily guessed it. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, totally agree. I think the visuals and sound design were spot on as far as like the cinematography, the visuals. That's one of the ones that I rated the highest. Just because I really, really love the visuals, because I liked that they were subtle. I liked that it didn't feel overly AI. There wasn't that weird motion that feels like everything's moving in slow motion that you get a lot with the AI video. And coming at it from I see a lot of AI videos all the time. That one to me, like Jesse said, I think that one I kind of looked at and went, oh, wow, this one at first glance, I'm not sure I would have known was AI. I think on that one specifically, where it might have lost me a little bit was the story a little bit. Like Monica was saying earlier, you better not show me the third act. I almost feel like the third act was was the final scene. But I really, really love the visuals and the sound design of it.
Yeah, that was funny on that one because I enjoyed the little tag at the end with the face, because the homage to Kubrick, and I was wondering if the story was getting too much to be like his, and then he adds that tag, and because if you miss the voice change, because you got to remember most people are doing something else when they're watching a trailer, or so they're not paying attention like we are. And then I was like, okay, nice tag. And a tag is like, it comes in and out of vogue in the trailer world, and I thought I don't know the filmmaker at all, did a nice job. I can't say he or she or whatever, so I'm like, they did a nice job with that, for those of us that like would be like, oh, where out to lunch whilst watching a trailer. So
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was awesome. I really appreciated the sound design and the visuals. I love that it was also like really quick, but kept you engaged the entire time. There was not a moment that I was uninterested. I was leaned in the entire time. So I think they did a really great job.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I really like that the story was very simple, but I would rather see a trailer that has a simple story executed well than a really complex story that begins to get lost by the end of it. And I think it was very clear from that trailer what film I was about to go see, and what the tone was going to be like. And I think that they built that world incredibly well. And some of the shots, like the console shot specifically, one of the very first shots, it's just a shot of the console and there's like lights on it. And I don't know if they used AI to animate those lights or if they went into maybe After Effects or something like that to animate just that specific part. But it looks, I mean, exactly like a shot that was shot live action. So they definitely had some really high level curation in there. So good stuff. This film was created by Deanna Govia.
So, Eloise, tell me about what's been bothering you.
I keep having these dreams.
911, what is your emergency?
And they keep coming true.
And what is it you dream about?
Death.
I think the dreams are coming back.
Hello?
Hi, my name is Eloise. And I'm sorry, but I think you're going to die today.
Yeah, I think what I like about that one is that they leaned into the fact that most of what you're seeing is a dream. And I think a lot of times when you watch like AI generations, it kind of feels like you're watching somebody's dream, right? It's got that uncanniness where there's something a little off to it. So the fact that a lot of what they were showing on the screen was supposed to be a dream, I think leans into the AI tech perfectly.
I was just going to say, Matt said it so eloquently earlier, as they really lean into what AI does well, and then they leave out the rest. And I thought that this one did a great job of that. And it's a genre that, it's not my genre usually, that scary thriller type thing, but it intrigued me to want to see more of this film. So, but Matt, however he said it earlier, was the way. It's like what AI does well, they leaned into that.
I was just gonna say I love the filmmaker's choice on starting out black and white, and then we slowly moved to like the filmmaker talks about dreams, and then you have this new color, similar like what Matt's saying, like the tropes of like really everything always does feel like a little bit of a dream, but then the image choices, like the man falling, like and I think all the imagery created in my head just an intrigue of like what's happening here, and then sort of the drop the mic of like Eloise, if that's the character, is gonna go now and be an active like hero in this story. And so that to me, those were all really interesting pieces that I felt were unique in the sense of like, okay, you have me, I'm interested, I want to know more.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to make kind of a drama more than like a genre piece. Obviously, live action can be really difficult to get that consistency. I think one thing I would have liked to see would be maybe some like color grading or something to unify these shots, because they felt a little disparate, or they felt maybe like I could feel the different mediums, but nice original concept, and kudos.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jesse. But I also do like that it felt like it was like a period piece. And so that's so interesting, right? For AI, like to feel like it's in the 1980s or something. And so just always find that interesting. But I really appreciated the story, and I definitely would want to see this film. And so
Yeah, I totally agree. I think doing black and white at the beginning, it's very clear that a lot of times color grading consistency is very challenging with AI. And so if you use black and white, you get to skip past the limitation that can pop up there. But I love what they did with the dream sequences. And it definitely feels like this could even be like a Final Destination procedural TV show where every episode they're trying to like save somebody. It definitely opens up imagination to what could
well,
happen.
It's got that like sort of Inception type thing where you're watching it and you don't really know if you're watching the dream portion or the real life portion, and I think they can play with that really well.
Yeah,
I love too how they had the same voice. Like as she aged, we heard the voice on the phone, and it was the character was consistent. I just think it was smart, good storytelling,
good stuff.
Yeah, and great sound design too. Yeah.
So our next trailer comes from Sari Kowalski.
This year has not been kind to us, just like for the whole of Europe. Our city suffer from hunger. I am asking for a job in the palace for my daughter. Let her earn her fate.
Thou shalt attend to the washing of the floors, and shalt serve the principality. Princess Mary Pavlovna, Prince Joseph Alexandrovich, Lady Jadwiga, and Nicholas Josephovich, the house's favorite.
'Tis time to commence the seance. Spirit of this house, reveal thyself to us. Something lurks in the darkness.
I've bought the address, Anna. Who should organize the ball?
Ball? In times of war? Their blood, for our blood. A girl hath been found. She served in the palace. The princes murdered the servants.
I can be next.
From now on, I am a law.
We commence the ball.
Death to the worst!
Where are you hiding?
Really
That
good
was
sense
awesome.
of energy and momentum in that one. It had like a nice propulsion keeping it going.
Yeah, it almost felt like it was going to be this like romantic story, and then it just really turned. And I was in the basement of our house watching this, and when the door sound creaked open, I legit was looking around because I was like, "What is happening?" It actually like emotionally resonated with me and kind of freaked me out. So I thought it was great. But
Yeah, I think they did a
Yeah.
great job with the sound design and the images that they rendered, but I felt it was too much, a little too long. And then I'm not a fan of the roll call, the character roll call in the middle. It draws me out of the story, and but incredible effort, and then to put all the fantastic sound and the crow at the end. That one gets me, moving the crow. So
Yeah, there was one scene where it showed like, I don't know, a zombie or monster or whatever they were, and you hear like the cracking of the bones or something, and you're just like, ooh. And that definitely got a reaction out of me. I feel like I got a little bit lost in what the actual story was. As far as the visuals, to me, a lot of the visuals felt like a whole bunch of series of like still images with a teeny tiny bit of motion. I wish there was a little bit more motion in the visuals. But overall, I think that the sound design of that one is what really stood out for me. But again, I think I got lost in the story a little bit. It might have been a little too long, and then also the sort of like I just wish there was more motion throughout it as well.
Yeah, this one was interesting because, Monica, you talked about how there was a lot of characters and called out. To me, like when I was hearing that on the VO, I felt like the filmmaker was like had some characters developed, had thought about these things. I was sort of like, okay, I'm intrigued by this story about this young, person being sent to this house. Sort of like Shelby, I was like, okay, and then it just turns, into the scary, and I was like, like even for myself, but I thought there were some really, really nice shots, like especially some of like the last couple shots on the establishing shots of the place. It's sort of like this haunting thing, like, we've come here and now you never know what's going to happen. So it definitely intrigued my imagination.
I think one thing I'd recommend for filmmakers that are struggling to get motion that they find satisfying would be that like insert shots or close-up shots to create a sequence of related events can sometimes be a lot more compelling than hoping that a wide shot turns out with realistic motion.
Yeah, that's a good tip because especially I felt like the second half of the trailer for me was better than the first half of the trailer because there was a lot of those big wide establishing shots, especially with like the war scene where it'd be like there's like explosion in background and then the person is just like completely static, just like standing there in the middle, and it instantly came across as just an image that was animated as opposed to actual footage. But that being said, I really do think that while I was watching this one, the world that they were building, like this like Bridgerton goes zombie world that they created, I really appreciated it. And I felt like, oh, I don't know if I've seen that before. And so like it really if that had an A24 logo at the end of it and some of the shots were changed out, I would be like, yeah, that feels like something that, would be have a theatrical release. So it also sounds like they wrote the script a few years ago and they're actually using this trailer to get it out.
You got that sense. That's where I felt there was a lot of character story development. Almost to Monica and Matt's point, it was like, well, is it too much? But it's interesting. It's like, I think trailers are interesting, subjective to like, do you like that? Do you want that? So that's where the genre bending of like, oh, this is a drama. No. Or a romance drama or something. No, this is actually going somewhere else. So I thought that.
Yeah, that I was going to ask if it was an investor trailer. It's because it feels like it's for an investor to invest in the movie to get that made, which is a completely legitimate trailer to make.
I'm curious, Monica, because I think for the majority of the competition here, we've been looking at it as an audience trailer. But what are some of those key differences between an investor trailer and an audience trailer? Are there some like story elements that would be different?
Well, you would be getting more of the story. Like what I'm saying about getting that third act in there, it would be because they're going to invest to see if it's worth them putting money in so that they'll get a return on their investment. So that's why the character scroll would make more sense. It's like to see who is in this movie. Is there somebody I can get behind? Is there, and then they may be making those characters look like somebody in the acting world out there to hint that maybe this person might be interested in that role. So it's a lot more giving away to an investor because you need them to invest. But with the audience to come watch it, it's to give less away so that they come watch the rest of it. So they're very different types of trailers. It is a very legitimate genre of trailer. So
that's awesome.
Okay, cool. So our next film is by Mark Waschultz.
What is the purpose of your research?
To give history a second chance.
Today, the Vatican and the United Nations have announced Project Reckoning, an unprecedented collaboration to reunite the world.
For the first time in history, we will grant historians, appointed by the UN, unlimited access to the Vatican archives. With outside help, we will embrace what the Germans call Erinnerungskultur, a culture of remembrance and accountability. Only by fully acknowledging the past sins of our faith can we lead a world in crisis into a new world of Christ.
I found a secret document. It's about the death and resurrection of an archangel called Jesus. And it was written before the time of Christ. It has everything: the trial, the passion, the crucifixion. This proves beyond any doubt that the most influential human being in the history of this planet never existed. And they have known about it for 2,000 years.
You were supposed to bring the world together, not throw it into chaos.
Meanwhile, a teenage girl from Ohio rallies millions worldwide for her global day of prayer, promising to pray Jesus back to Earth.
Is this hope, or is this madness?
The whole world is collapsing back to the supernatural.
That title card at the end is
so good. Yeah.
Send a prayer. And then
and it also had a note and I just noticed it, like interested producers. So this was like, as we were talking about, truly a different, like a pitch type of trailer.
Right.
Yeah. I love this trailer. To me, this was, out of all of the trailers, this is the one that I watched and went, I really want to watch this movie. Like, I want to see the whole thing now.
So funny,
Yeah.
Matt. I did the same thing because it was a story I'd never seen before. It was, and then the premise, and then when they're like 2,000 years, everybody knows the story of Christ, of Jesus, and then they have a twist on it. I was like, well, how did they do that? So, and then it's based on a true. Yeah, that gets me when they're like based on a true story, because there's different phraseology, like true events, true, and so I was like, well, there's a true story, and I wanted to see more, and I think they did what Matt was saying. They leaned into what AI does very well, and they had a great story. If it is a pitch trailer, then I would have signed up. It is a pitch trailer, and I would invest. It was like really well done.
I think, not only did they lean into the things that AI does really well, I think they actually overcame a lot of stuff that it doesn't do very well. They had a consistent character whose face and likeness was instantly recognizable. That's huge. And then they had well blocked and shot scenes where you actually got a sense of character dynamics and their relation to each other. I think really incredible use of camera work that I haven't seen in AI stuff before. So really huge shout out there.
Yeah. This trailer actually, I looked back. It was like it's actually much longer. It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but I was there every beat. It was, and what was interesting was you didn't even have the VO of the voice of the main character for her. I was just, but the imagery was like so pleasant and like I'm interested. I want to know what's happening here. Every single shot I felt was beautiful. It was just gorgeous. And really it was like, I think for the layman, they wouldn't have no idea like, and like what part of it is AI, that was also the beauty of it as well. And truly, for me, I rate, the story on this one, the highest, because it really was complete. And then I was like, oh, okay, I want to watch this series.
Yeah. I actually got goosebumps watching that trailer.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I got goosebumps on that one as well. I think it was really, really well done. And you really, like, for me, whenever I was watching this one, I immediately like had to go Google because I was like, what the heck is this story? So I feel like that was interesting that like I took a qualified action after watching this trailer to engage with the story, which I think says a lot. Yeah. And you could really feel like in a very polarized world, how this would become a conversation point, almost like the Civil War film that was released recently, like and it just being kind of connected to social events. It was very clear to me that like this one would be talked about in the news and people would come out against it and for it, and you could feel the marketing happening automatically for this film.
It's an interesting niche too, for maybe the goal isn't even fiction. Maybe it's advocacy, or maybe it's just raising awareness about something, where something like this, where attaching visuals to your campaign can have a huge impact.
Yeah, that is such a great point, Jesse. I agree. In this particular trailer, it drew us to like, like as Caleb said, I want to go look this up. And the action point, I think, is the thing, and there are some films like that. And maybe there's a new opportunity for like even short trailers or short little stories to do that.
Great. So next up, we have a trailer by Matt Mail.
Good morning, New York City. We're flying over a slightly overcast Manhattan. I can see Liberty Island is already full of tourists, and why are so many of them looking out at the water? Hey, Matt, do you see that? Wow. It's beautiful. Coming toward us. I think I'll have to switch.
And here we lose contact with the news helicopter. Moments later, the creatures begin to fuse, as you can see here, enveloping our statue.
Dimensionally locking it and winding its clock back to when the French have the copper mined out of the ground.
Nothing we didn't already know. It was only a matter of time. We need to accelerate our research.
Yeah, whatever. Just keep it quiet above ground. Make them beg us to let them come up for air.
You broke the timeless pact. Then you attacked us. Return what you have stolen. Restore our bond, or we will turn your violent civilization back to a more manageable time.
Yeah. I was just going to say it felt like a very grand concept. There was some, the sound design really helped, I think, with the feeling of the grand concept too. Like you see a scene where like the bubble thing is rising out of the water and it's got that low like rumble to it. It just feels very grand and epic. It was just a struggle for me to get the visuals of what was going on due to the resolution. But overall, I loved how like big and epic it felt.
Yeah, it was nice to see like, okay, we're like over New York, everything seems okay. Then all of a sudden, wait, hold on a second, something unusual is happening, and then it just kept on going. Like there's this entity just like kind of taking over, and so that whole like big type actiony type film, I kind of got that sense, but I liked how it unfolded in particular. Yeah, it was there was a lot that I think the filmmaker was trying to sort of set up within this trailer.
Yeah, a lot to set up, and so they use the New York always and then DC always because they're easily recognizably visual. But as a New Yorker, I'm like, leave the Statue of Liberty alone. Come on, it's but interesting concept.
I definitely found this one super interesting. The creatures, the visuals for what's going to happen if they turn back the time. Like what are all of these environments going to look like as these creatures start to invade and change things. So this one, I definitely was like, I want to go see this in like IMAX, like Dolby. Like I want to go epic.
I like the spin on like the creatures too, right? It wasn't like the normal like aliens that you would see from a movie. It was like this bubble thing that looked like a totally different entity. Like, does it have a heartbeat? Is it alive? I don't know. I can't tell. It's this completely different entity. So I love the creativity on that side of taking that genre but doing something that we haven't seen before with it.
Okay, I was just going to say with the AI, that's the beauty of it, is that imagination it's up to anybody now what the alien creature looks like. Who was I see? The guy who did Sunshine. I can't think of anyhow. When he got to do Sunshine, the director, whose name is escaping me right now, he said when he got to do his space film, because he had done different types of genre films, it was already set in stone what spaceships would look like in people's imaginations because that's what had come before him. So in AI, anybody can create anything, and I think that is the beauty of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that this filmmaker had a good understanding of audience engagement and energy. The cut from the morning news helicopter to the government agent guy talking about what was happening, and then the juxtaposition with the nuclear bomb, and then the Times Square countdown. You could tell that they really understand how a story develops visually and how to just captivate the minds of the audience. Okay, great. So the next trailer was created by Tobias Huber.
At its northern border, Rome's power fades within the ancient forests of Germania. For hundreds of years, the Empire sought to dominate my people, but we remained free. After war came peace. We began to trade. The borderlands became a place of safety for people from every corner of our world. But now, a darkness is rising. There have been murders, savage and merciless. People talk of creatures deep within the forest. They whisper of a dark god, a god of death. To save my village and avenge the death of my father, I must uncover the truth. United with my friend, an agent of Rome, I travel to face the demons of my past and to reveal the forces that haunt us in the present.
No, this one's interesting. I was just going to say, because again, they have, it's a pitch trailer for a historic series, request materials, and then they have their email. And so it's so smart. And obviously they've thought through this story, and they're, really, they have something they are wanting to, produce and get greenlit. So it's really well done. The visuals are like the most stunning visuals I've maybe ever seen in an AI film. So incredible.
Really consistent aesthetic. They really knew exactly what they were going for, and they were dialed in on that. And really excellent editing, really great, quick cuts that had impact. It was nice work.
Yeah, I think it was a great use of the AI tech as well. I just think they didn't linger on any one shot too long to the point where it started to get that weirdness to it. It kind of, before you started to realize that it was an AI shot, they moved on to the next shot already. I thought the sound design was really, really good. Like it was very well cut to the beats of the background music. I just really, really love that trailer a lot. That was definitely one of my favorites.
I love the detail. Like there was some grounded imagery. I felt like everything from like the fox to like there's a close up shot of like some fruit on a tree, and then even the tattoos on the faces. I was like, it all really built like intrigue for me.
I really think that the character, the main protagonist of the film, was very, very consistent. Every time they came back to her, you were like, okay, that's her again. It was very clear that was supposed to be the same character, which, to Jesse's earlier point, is kind of hard to do with AI. So they figured out a way to get that consistent character really well.
It harkens back to The Last Kingdom and The Witcher, which are very popular, but with a female protagonist. I think they've got a great concept, and they did a great job of selling it as a pitch trailer to an audience, because I'm intrigued.
There were definitely a few shots in there that were so good. I was like, did they have access to Luma before the public had access? Because like, especially like the berry shot, the fox shot, it really was very high level, and especially the one shot that was like match action. I think there was like something like a Roman soldier, and then it cut to her. And I don't know if it was implying that she was the Roman soldier, just the juxtaposition between the antagonist and the protagonist, but really, really interesting just film techniques on display there.
Yeah, just speaking to that point real quick, there was one shot where it showed her on the screen sort of centered in frame, and then it sort of flashed, and it had like I don't know if it was like one of the antagonists of the movie or what, but like a character with like the horns in the exact identical spot. And I'm like, oh, that shot was so well done.
Okay, guys, so we'll keep it moving. So next up is a trailer by Wayne Franklin.
In the beginning, there was darkness. And then came the light. For millennia, the light shepherded life. And when humans learned to harness the light, their civilization flourished. But there was a darkness in man. And when the darkness grew too strong, they turned the power of light against one another. And then they were caught. The light began to search for mankind. The few humans who remained sought connection with the light. And that's when something miraculous happened. We were born. A new humanity, a new light, the best of both. But wherever the light rises, darkness will challenge it. And it won't stop until the light is extinguished. We will not let that happen.
Very cool.
Such a high concept. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one where I look at the shots and I'm like, do they have access to tech that I haven't had access to yet? Like the some of the shots where they have like the glowing blue face, and then they somehow manage to get that consistently through multiple scenes. Like, I'm not even sure what video AI tool they used to make some of that stuff, or if that was some of their own post-processing, but I thought that looked really, really good. I think visually, this one really came together well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really loved the story. It was so intriguing. I was like, there's so much there. And exactly, Matt, I was like looking at the faces. I was like, what? How was this done? So really nicely done.
I think that there were some really good VFX on display there. I don't think we've talked a lot about that with the previous trailers, but uh, AI is really good at like cloud simulations and some types of like explosions and fire every now and then. And so I think that this trailer had a lot of VFX inside of it, and none of the shots I felt like looked really hokey. Especially there's one scene where there's like a bubbling monster rising to the surface, and the bubbles like they look pretty realistic, as if the monster was actually there. So I think they did a really great job.
Yeah, and they did a great job with the speaking image. I was impressed with that. Like when Matt says that gets a little wonky sometimes, and it didn't take me out of the story. So that was cool. And I just am so impressed with what AI can take for any filmmaker, independent, whatever, and get their high concepts on the screen. It's just remarkable. And so that's why I always say I'm so excited about the future. It's just like it's just unbelievable.
So our final film trailer comes from Xavier Savant.
A darkness approaches. One that endangers our world and the liberty we hold dear. Yet in our arsenal lies a power unforeseen by our enemies. This gift was passed down through our ancestors, and we shall unleash it against those who seek to claim dominion over us. It is our duty to stand in defiance.
That's a really cool case where the concepts behind each shot were so strong that I felt as if like, oh, I wanted these people to maybe have more consistent tech. Some of the shots were a little shimmery, and a little distracting, but the ideas behind all the shots and the compositions and everything were just so grounded and awesome. It was really, you could tell there was a lot of heart behind it.
Yeah, definitely emotionally resonant. Like this one, from the sound, the story, the visuals, like everything. I was like, this is a powerful film, and I want to see this made. It was really cool.
Yeah, that was another one that for me, I watched the trailer and kind of went, I actually want to see this movie get made. Like, I like the concept behind it. I think it looks really good. I thought visually they used the tech well. There was a few points where it had that sort of slow motion effect that we see a lot with AI video, where it looks like it should be at normal speed, but it's still kind of moving in slow motion. So some of that kind of stuff, I think takes me out of it a little bit. But like visually, I loved the way it came together. I loved some of the shots they got. That was another one where I saw some of the video shots and went, I actually don't know what they used to make this shot.
Yeah. I thought the visual effects were very interesting. The world that they built, that kind of intersection of this like colonizer theme, but with like a circus. I don't feel like I've ever seen that before. So I think it was a really, it felt like a new story that was really interesting. Okay, so now that we took a look at those incredible trailers, now comes the fun part, the judging. So the way that this competition will work, each trailer will get a 1 point for third place, 2 points for second place, and 3 points for a first place vote. Each judge will select their third, second, and first place selections. And then if there's any tiebreakers, Jesse at Submachine will break the tie, and we will give the Apple Vision Pro to the winner. So let's kick things off with our third place selection. Christina, what was your third place selection and why?
So my third place selection was Wayne Franklin's Trendles. I found that this was probably one of the strongest script writing. I thought the VO script writing was spot on. It's just like entering into like starting with VO and then going into the trailer, complete story. I also felt the pacing of the editing brought in like intrigue for me. So I loved it. Yeah, third place.
Yeah, so for me, I think third place was the hardest. I think I had a fairly clear first and second, but I really struggled on third. It was a toss-up between about three, but ultimately I chose Xavier Savant as my third favorite. I think that the cinematography on that one, the visuals of it really did a good job of using the AI technology well, and that was a big piece that I was looking at. I'm not a filmmaker. I don't really know the science behind good trailers, but I do know AI and I do know the tech. And for me, that was one of the better uses of the AI technology.
For third place, I have Echoes of Chernobyl, Adam Castlebrandt's, and I thought it was very well done. Great use of AI, creating a world that exists, and also harkening back to one of the greatest TV series, Chernobyl, of the last 15 years. And so getting people interested in the next story, the next generation of that.
And my third place selection was Crows Cawing. I love what you said earlier, Caleb. It felt like if A24 came together with like Bridgerton and a zombie film. And I just think it was very interesting. I love period pieces. The twist was a lot, but also something that I would be interested in seeing, even though I'm not really into horror. It's very curious for me. So I loved that one.
That one was great. For my third place selection, I pick the trailer by Xavier Savant. That was the one that was like the circus, like magical trailer that we watched there at the end. I thought it was really interesting, and I love the world that they put together. So at the end of the third place round, Xavier Savant is in the lead with 2 points, and we have a three-way tie for second place between Adam Castlebrandt, Cower Kowalski, and Wayne Franklin. So that brings us to our second place round. So all of the votes in this round are worth 2 points. So Christina, what was your second place selection?
Yeah, my second place selection was Caperton Miller, the 2000+1. It's short. It was a solid trailer, great visuals. I just kind of love that throwback to 2001 Space Odyssey, but just all the choices the filmmaker made to grab me in there. And I was like very intrigued. Like I want to know what happens on the spaceship.
So for me, second place, I went with Tobias Huber with his Cirrus video. That one, I really, really love the visuals. Out of all the videos we saw, that one probably had my favorite visuals. There was some shots in there where, it flashed the person and then it flashed like the antagonist, and they were in the exact same place. And I just thought it was really, really well done visually. It just really came together to me. That was one that I want to watch that movie. I want to see that fully fleshed out.
Second place for me was The Day the World Prayed by Mark Wacholtz. I think that's how you would pronounce it. I'm sorry if it's not. I thought it was very well done with great twists and a plot that we thought we kind of all knew, but we don't. And then based on a true story, it made me want to go find out what that guy had written about to make this true story. And very well done. Perfect for a trailer to tease you to wanting to see more.
My second place was As Above, So Below. This was the, alien bubble creatures who were turning back time because we invaded their, we took something from them. So that was an interesting film. I definitely found myself wanting to watch that in the theaters immediately. And I just really enjoyed the concept, really enjoyed the visuals. And I think Matt did a great job.
Yeah, for my second place winner, I have to select The Day the World Prayed by Mark Wacholtz. I thought that film was very compelling, felt very much like a film that would do well at the box office. And it feels like I would not be surprised in 2 to 3 years if this film actually turned into an actual production. So very good job. Great. So at the end of our second place round, we have Mark Schultz in first place with 4 points. We have a four-way tie for second place between Caperton Miller, Matt Mail, Tobias Huber, and Xavier Savant with 2 points. In third place, we have Adam Castlebrandt, Howard Kowalski, and Wayne Franklin with 1 point. All right, so that brings us to our final round, the first place round. All of the selections in this round are worth 3 points. So let's kick things off to Christina.
So I definitely loved Mark Walhartz. I don't know if I said his name right, but it's The Day the World Prayed. I thought it was just a solid, great concept. It was 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but I was there the whole time. Incredible imagery. I really want to see this, this series. And I think that's really the marker for me was like incredible. Like when do I watch it? How do I see it? So really great.
So my first place selection was Day the World Prayed from Mark Wackles. To me, that was the one where I watched it and the trailer went by so fast. I almost wanted more. I want to go see that movie. I thought all the shots were really, really well done. I thought it was very cohesive. The color grading was well done. It felt like it, out of everything that I saw, it was the one that it felt like the most thought was put into, the most effort, the most, post-production. Just that one just hit everything for me.
For me, first place was Eloise. I felt, even though horror is not my genre, I thought it was a very well done trailer. The filmmaker used AI to the best of its abilities, and that was brilliant. As Matt Wolf so eloquently said earlier, it has parameters, but the filmmaker used them to its best abilities, put its best foot forward, the AI. So that's why and the story was great, and it had me intrigued, who doesn't go for that genre. So that is a real feather in the cap for selling somebody who isn't sold on that genre to go want to watch the film more.
And my first place selection was Maddie Russo and The Circus of Secrets by Xavier Savant. This film, I think, the story is incredibly powerful. The visuals were powerful. The music, the sound design, every moment of it, I found myself really emotionally resonating and just wanting to see this story in its entirety. And so that's number one for me.
Yeah, I think my first place selection has to be Tobias Huber's Germanic Roman Empire story. I think the shots were incredible. It felt very much like a real live action film. And I think that the trailer they put together really embodied the film that they were hoping to create. So I think they did a really great job. So that brings us now to the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's list out the winners. So in sixth place, we have Adam Castlebrandt, Kauser Kowalski, and Wayne Franklin tied with 1 point. In fifth place, we have Caperton Miller and Matt Mail with 2 points. And in fourth place, we have Deanna Jovia with 3 points. And now that brings us to our prize rounds. So, funny enough, for our second and third place winners, we actually have a tie. We have a tie between Tobias Huber, who put together the Germanic Roman Empire trailer, and Xavier Savant, who put together the magical circus trailer. And in the event of a tie, Jesse actually gets to pick the winner. So, Jesse, in your opinion, out of those two trailers, who deserves to win second place?
Okay, a lot of pressure. I think both of these trailers had really great editing, really great music, really great senses of momentum, and clearly like very strong fleshed out worlds that they were showing. So big shout out to both the filmmakers. I think it's clear you have vision and you're going to go places. But I think on a purely emotional level, Xavier Savant's trailer had something really magical and unique underneath it, and I felt this consistency and this through line in between every shot that was connected by something. So I think that was it made me want to watch more. So great job, Xavier. I'm picking you.
Well, congratulations, Xavier. You won second place, and Tobias won third place. And I should also note that for this competition, we also have a special category called Submachine's Favorites. So Submachine is the exclusive sponsor of this competition. And that distinction falls on Jesse. So, Jesse, what was your favorite overall trailer for the entire competition?
Well, I think Mark Lashowski's The Day the World Prayed really felt like a level up in terms of visuals and also just dramatic action. I think the consistent use of characters, the great camera work, the great blocking, it really felt like it was a powerful piece. And it also really opened my eyes, I think, to another way that AI can be used for advocacy and real world discussion points. So I think it was an incredibly effective piece. Mark, you did a great job. So kudos, you're the Submachine pick today.
And Mark, I have even better news, because not only are you the Submachine pick, you are also the first place winner for this competition with 10 points. You absolutely knocked it out of the park, and you are the proud winner of an Apple Vision Pro enrollment in our AI filmmaking course at Curious Refuge, 2 lifetime licenses for Submachine, t-shirts from Submachine and Curious Refuge, and most importantly, you will be immortalized here as the winner of the world's first AI film trailer competition. So fantastic job, Mark. You did an amazing job. And I'd like to extend a thank you to our judges for taking part in this competition, and then also our curators. So behind the scenes, we had curators that have to watch 14 hours worth of trailers so that our judges don't have to spend 14 hours watching 394 trailers themselves. So thank you to everyone on the Curious Refuge team for taking part of that. And I would definitely encourage everyone who entered this competition to also look at other competitions. A lot of times when you create one film or trailer, you can submit it to other competitions. So be on the lookout for that. We have an AI events page over on Curious Refuge that lists out some of the various other competitions that you can enter. And one of the big competitions coming up is the Venice International Film Festival AI film competition. And that's in collaboration with Reply and MasterCard during the International Film Festival in Venice. And the winners actually get to be flown out to Italy, which is awesome. So lots of cool opportunities for folks to enter these competitions. And to everyone who didn't win this time, I'm sure you'll have a great shot at winning next year. So judges, thank you so much for being a part, and we will see everyone next time.